Mga nurses, nakain na ba tanan?
As we are about to begin, please be seated. I have a few housekeeping notes before we begin today's program. First, I would like to seek everyone's cooperation in completing this webinar. Kindly switch your mobile phones to silent mode to avoid interruption. Thank you for your kind cooperation and attention. Good morning to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Edalberto L. Opinaria, SESO 5, to our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Rose Masisar, to our ever dynamic Chief Education Supervisor of Schools Governance Operations Division, Chief Maria Ablin, to our CID Chief, Ma'am Maria Idon, section heads, staff of Schools Division of Lanao del Norte, welcome to our webinar for Tobacco Control Prevention Program. I am Kim Rose Sabuklalaw Ibol, and I am happy and pleasured to be your moderator for today's webinar. May I invite everyone to invoke our Almighty with a prayer to be followed by a national anthem. Good morning, Schools Division of Lanao del Norte. Thank you so much for attending our webinar today. We appreciate you giving us time to beside your busy schedule. So welcome to our webinar. And to begin our program, may I welcome our ever dynamic, supportive Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Rosemary T. Masisar. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning. So, happy Friday to all of us, DepEd Lanao del Norte. My respect, of course, to our schools division superintendent, Dr. Edelberto Leones of Plenaria, our SGOD chief, Dr. Maria Ablin, our CID chief, Dr. Maria Eva Saire Edon, our distinguished speakers, of course, our school health and nutrition personnel headed by Dr. Melvin Inepio. And forget the program holders, Ma'am Patrick, am I right, Patrick? Of course, the school nurses, teachers are in charge of as coordinators of their schools. My pleasure to welcome you, our participants, to this webinar on tobacco control and anti-smoking advocacy. So I also would like to welcome our distinguished speakers who are here to present to us very important information that we need to know about the topic of this webinar, which is about the bad effects of smoking or the use of tobacco, especially to our health, and how to avoid being addicted to it. A topic on the legal basis or 100% smoke-free policy will also be discussed. So I hope that you, our dear participants, will really give your full attention to what our speakers will discuss so that you will be able to cascade whatever knowledge that you have gained from this webinar to your respective learners. Although we are not yet having the face-to-face classes, but we will encourage you that in your lessons as much as possible, if you can integrate topics about the topic that we are having right now, anti-smoking advocacy. If you can do that, to, especially to our high school students, the better, so that our learners who seem to be gullible and who might be innocent of the effects of smoking will be informed that they should not smoke, not even try it, because from what I know, most of those who have tried it will usually be addicted to it. As they say, once tasted, always wanted. So, what you would like, what we in the office would like you to do is to advocate for anti-smoking, and so that our learners will be aware of its bad uh, side effects or to our health, and that they will not try it. So I hope that you yourself will also be models, no, that you will not also smoke, because you need to walk your talk. You should serve as role models. So if you are the school tobacco coordinator and you yourself smoke, you better stop that habit so that you will be uh, worth emulating sa inyong mga learners whom you are campaigning for not to smoke. So I hope our dear participants to this training, you will strengthen more our anti-smoking advocacy so that wala na gyud mga tao nga kung pwede mag-smoke in our province of Lanao del Norte. So thank you for listening, and in advance and attending this webinar. And I would like also to thank our and congratulate ahead of time our speakers, and of course our the one who are spearheading this program, the School Health and Nutrition section, headed by Dr. Melvin, and the program holder, Ma'am Patrick. So once again, happy Friday and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful opening remarks, Mom Rose. And now to give us the rationale of this.
Ito mali eh. Ito sabi. Ay,
Mom Catherine G. Police. A virtual applause, please. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. On behalf of our school's Governance and Operations Division Chief Education Supervisor, I will be giving this morning's webinar on tobacco and anti-smoking health program statement of the purpose. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable death according to studies. It can lead to a variety of ongoing complications in the body, as well as long-term effects. Smoking is incredibly harmful to human health, and there is no safe way to smoke. Replacing cigarette with pipes, e-cigarette, or vapes won't help individuals to avoid health risks. In line with the Department Order Number 48, Series of 2016, Policy and Guidelines on Comprehensive Tobacco Control, which aims to educate and inform all learners, teaching and non-teaching personnel and staff on the hazard of tobacco use and in exposure to secondhand smoke. The Division of Lanao del Norte School Health Section conducts this webinar on smoking advocacy to enlighten the personnel on the effect and risk of smoking to human health. Also, this virtual activity will remind everyone on the 100% smoke-free policy, which prohibits smoking in or on the premises, buildings, and grounds of all government agencies. Once again, good morning. And thank you, Kim. Back to you. Thank you so much, Mom Kat, for that rationale of this event. And now, to give us the roll call of participants of this event, may I call on our coordinator for today's webinar, the Tobacco Control Program, Miss Patty Raifa Dumato.
Good morning, Kim. Good morning sa tanan. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants who are present today and who joined in this event. And I would like to apologize yung nasa field sa YouTube, hanggang YouTube link lang po kasi po hindi po ma-accommodate lahat sa MS Teams. Only limited lang po yung slots sa only limited po yung slots sa MS Teams. And I would like to call on the nurses if they are all present, and kindly turn on your camera Well, I'll call your name. And there is a contest on best face shield. If ever na nag-join mo, kindly wear your face shield. First, can I call Doc Melvin? Please turn your camera, Doc. Doc Melvin. Hi, Doc. Doc Celia. Can I? Doc Celia. Sir Dryden. Please turn on your camera. Hi, sir. Si Ma'am Catherine Putis. Hi, ma'am. Hi, Ching. Sir Amante. Sir Amante.
Yes, present.
Can I please turn your camera, sir?
Na-turn naman ako.
Okay. Spam Kim.
Oh.
Darao, ang bigatin na aktor namin sa health section. Sir Amante. Ma'am Kim, good morning. Hidaya Ali. Please turn your camera. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, baby girl. Sir Yasser, Muhammad Yasser. Sir Yasser, are you present? Sir Greg. Sir Greg. Si Ma'am Janet. Ma'am Janet, Ma'am Nihaya. Ma'am Nihaya. Good morning, ma'am. Kumusta na po ang piyaga po?
Good morning, guys.
Can I see your face shield? Very good. Nasa yung face shield. Wow.
Maay ka?
Si Ma'am Janet, oh, wow. Ang ganda-ganda ng face shield niya, oh. Fighting
Thank
goodness,
you.
Ma'am Janet. Morning.
Kung kami pa, ha?
Si Sir Jed. Sir Jed. Ma'am Phoebe. Ma'am Phoebe just got in. Can I see your video camera? Ma'am Feb, good morning. Ma'am Munina.
Good morning. Present.
Morning, ma'am. Wow, naka-facial si Ate Munina. Good morning. Si Ma'am Shy, Ma'am Claire.
Ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Present. Shy here.
Si Ma'am Merly.
Yes,
Good morning, Sir Jasper.
good morning. Just arrived from the field. Nakalimot mapit mo nang nagdali-dali ko uli dili.
Good morning. Si Ma'am Raisa.
Sit up sa ako ha kay akong pag-abot.
Okay, sir. Ma'am Raisa. Si Ma'am Alet. Hi, ma'am. Good morning. Si Ma'am Lerny May Villabuna. Si Ma'am Rosie.
Oh, good morning.
Morning, ma'am. Okay, Ma'am Jesseline.
Good morning, ma'am.
Topic 1 na yan.
Sir Hope.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Charging na.
Ma'am Noroline. Ma'am Noroline. Ma'am Mercy. Okay, so please, can I request everyone to please turn off their microphone and please turn on their camera for picture taking. Requesting everyone to please turn on all their camera for picture taking. Okay. In count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, smile. Okay. Okay, so we would like to start our program. Our first speaker, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day. Masyado tong mabait na tao. He graduated his college, his BA Psychology in University of Santo Tomas and graduated College of Medicine in De La Salle University, Dasmariñas, Cavite. He also finished his postgraduate internship in Veterans Memorial Hospital, Quezon City. Finished his residency training in general psychiatry in National Center of Mental Health, Mandaluyong City. He became the consultant of different hospitals and now he is present medical director in BioSafe Center Group of Clinics and New Paradise Rehab Center. He takes his training in naturopathy and quantum medicine in International Naturopathic College, Hong Kong, energy medicine in Taipei Veterans Hospital in Taiwan. He also finished his traditional Chinese medicine with general acupuncture and cosmetic acupuncture in Wanjing Hospital of China Academy in Chinese. He also trained as manual lymphatic drainage in Makati, clinical metal toxicology in Cebu, and he also has spiritually, religion, and the therapeutic process, psychodermatology and anthropology in scars and skin whitening. He is associated in Philippine Psychiatric Association up to the present and in Philippine College of Addiction Medicine up to the present. His affiliation is Preventive Regenerative Integrative Medical Alliance or PRIMA, also in Philippine College for Advanced Medicine, Philippine College of Addiction Medicine Diplomate, Philippine Psychiatric Association PMA in Quezon City Chapter, and also in Physician Association in National Center for Mental Health. May I now present Dr. Ernest Francis G. Nora. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning po. Magandang umaga po sa lahat. Isa pong malaking karangalan na maimbita po dito sa inyong talakayan.
Doc, ako po yung mag-share ng slides mo or ikaw na?
Ikaw na lang, ma'am. Kasi...
Sige, sige.
Okay, so our topic for this webinar is smoking cessation. As mentioned kanina ng ating superintendent po, it's the #1 leading cause of preventable disease. As mentioned by Patre, aside from being a psychiatrist, ako po ay isang wellness physician. Naka-share na ba, ma'am?
Nakikita na po sa screen, Doc.
I cannot see it.
Ito po. Wala pa. Let me see. Ito po.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the objectives for this lecture would be to recognize the reasons why people turn to smoking. We should be able to understand the harmful effects of tobacco use and learn ways to control smoking, and also appreciate the benefits of committing to quit. Next slide. Next slide, ma'am.
Yan po. I-close. Gusto mo i-close ko yung sharing, ikaw mag-share.
Nasa phone lang ako kasi yung laptop
Okay. So, dito tayo magsa-start. Ito po yung pinaka-first. Yung
Okay.
next, ito.
I cannot see.
Smoking is, hindi po makita.
Hindi po.
Ito. May nakikita po kayo?
Still the same, yung objectives pa rin.
Yung surf floor.
Is it okay if ako lang mag-share?
Sige, Kim. Much better. I-end ko yung share ko. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, again, sorry for that. So these are the objectives of this lecture. Again, to recognize the reasons why people turn to smoking, to understand the harmful effects of tobacco smoke or tobacco use, learn ways to control smoking, and to appreciate the benefits of committing to quit smoking. Next slide. So, as mentioned po kanina ng ating superintendent, smoking is the single largest preventable cause of disease and premature death. Alam po naman ng lahat yan. Lahat po ng smokers and non-smokers, alam po yan. But for the smokers, they would always have this reason just to continue smoking. Diba? Hindi naman ako nakakaisang kaha. I only use 5 sticks a day. Diba? Yung lolo ko, ang tagal na nagsisigarilyo, buhay pa din. Diba? Yung kaibigan ko, when he stopped, namatay. So, there would always be reasons. So, I would like to go into the really gritty part of the details of how smoking can kill, so we could share this to our students and our friends so that they would really know the effects of smoking in our health. Next slide. So tobacco causes 8 million deaths a year. 8 million deaths a year. Not preventable. Yun po yung malungkot dun. That's about 900 deaths an hour. So, kanina we started 9 o'clock, it's half. So, about 415 na po ang namatay simula na mag-start tayo ng lecture. Ganun kadami po ang namamatay sa smoking. Next slide. And with this pandemic currently ongoing, it has been shown that smokers are likely to develop severe disease with COVID. So, once na magka-COVID ka, mas malaki ang chance. 90% daw mild or asymptomatic. But if you're smoker, mas malaki ang chance mo na maging severe because compromised na yung function ng lungs mo. Next slide. So, tobacco use is responsible for 25% of all cancers globally. 25%. Ang dami po nun. Because, you know, nung ako po ay medical student, pagka po meron kaming pasyenteng cancer, we usually report it. Kasi it was an exotic disease before. Ang rare po ng cancer nung ako po ay nag-aaral nung 1980s. Ngayon po, it's very common. And 25% of these cancers that we get right now are caused by smoking. Next slide. So, ito po yung scary part. For the adults, those 15 years old and above, 23.8 are smokers. For the young, those age 13 to 15, 16% are already tobacco users. For the younger age, as young as 10 to 14, 1.8% of Filipino children smoke. 2%, 2% of our children, 10 to 14 years old, are already smoking. At karamihan po ngayon sa mga bata ay yung vape, yung nauuso ngayon na vape, which they say is more carcinogenic. It's really scary because when I was 10 years old, I don't even think of smoking. I just would like to play with my friends. So, next slide. And aside from those really smokers, remember we still have the second-hand smoke. Yung exposure po ng adults, age 15 and older, about 22% sa workplace, another 22% sa restaurants, and 38% sa public transport. Ang mahirap po dito, if you ask somebody to stop smoking, kunyari you're in a restaurant or you're commuting, kadalasan nagagalit pa sila. Wala naman daw silang ginagawa. So, but yun po ang isang major source ng second-hand smoke. At again, those sa young people, 54% enclosed public spaces. At ito pong 54% na to, na enclosed public, kadalasan relatives po nila ang kasama nila. Next slide. So, the health consequences of smoking, about 111,000 Filipinos die from tobacco-related disease every year. Imagine, 111,000 Filipinos. It causes 21.8% of deaths of male and 9% of female deaths every year. Next slide. So, 10 Filipinos die every hour. So kung lecture natin, isipin niyo po, ganun kadami kasi. Ang malungkot nga po, it's preventable. If this lecture is going to last 2 hours, 20 Filipinos na po ang namatay. They could be our friends, they could be our family, and you know, it should be preventable. Next slide. So what is smoking? Ang alam natin kasi sigarilyo, but there are different forms of smoking. Basically, smoking is the practice in which a substance is burned and the resulting smoke is breathed in to be tasted and absorbed into the bloodstream. Yan po yung parang pinakaano ng smoking. Next slide. So it is a process of habit of burning a substance, inhaling it or tasting it, and exhaling the smoke. Next slide. So initially, it was part of religion. Noong mga unang panahon po, they burned incense in temples, sa mga Buddhist, sa Catholic churches. They burned incense, part of ng mga seremonya nila. Next slide. Tapos sa mga Indians at Incas, it's part of the ritual. They pass around the pipe wherein they smoke herbs. Tapos parang kasama yun sa mga sacred rituals nila. Next slide. It was also a part of their medicinal treatments. Di ba? They smoke and they exhale doon sa patient, lalo na kung unconscious yung patient. Siguro ito yung unang nebulizer nila. Next slide. So basically, it is a way of life and undeniably a part of our culture. Next slide. So, what's in a cigarette? Imagine yung kaliit-liit po na sigarilyo would have about 7,000 chemicals in it. Diba? It would have cadmium, nakikita po ito sa battery. Stearic acid, ito po yung nagpapakintab ng kandila. Diba? It would hexamine, barbecue lighter. Toluene, ito po yung rugby. Diba? It has nicotine, insecticide, ammonia, yung panglinis. It has lead, nakikita sa paints, methanol sa fuel, carbon monoxide, yung buga ng tambucho ng kotse, arsenic sa poison, methane, acetic butane. So, ganun po kadami ang toxic chemicals ng isang maliit na sigarilyo. Kung sasabihin lang na 2 sticks lang ako a day, so that's still 14,000 chemicals. Imagine if you're smoking a pack a day. So, let them do the math para they'll have an idea how harmful a cigarette is. Next slide. So, what's in a cigarette? They are poison gases, cancer-causing chemicals, and heavy metals or toxic metals. Diba? So, hundreds of these chemicals causes cancer and causes other diseases. Next slide. So, again, we have to know, to be able to prevent them, especially for the students, we have to know why they start smoking. So for the young people, it's usually curiosity factor. Uy, mga kaibigan ko nagsisigarilyo, subukan ko din kaya. For some, it's an appetizer. Yung iba, it's to belong to a group, like yung bang barkada mo nagsisigarilyo na, di ako na rin. And also, for young males, it's part na parang sa ego nila to prove they're already binata or they're already man. Next, please. So, smoking causes physical addiction. Kaya po siya mahirap alisin, ay iba't ibang klaseng addiction po meron ang smoking. The nicotine causes or stimulates a part in our brain, yung ating reward center, kaya masarap siya, nasasayahan siya. Ito yung bakit nagigising ka pag nagsisigarilyo ka. That's why it's quite difficult because of this physical addiction. But aside from the physical addiction, next slide, please. We have this habitual. It becomes a habit because if you keep repeating something, it becomes a habit. So, sa kanila parang may mga ritual na rin sila. Pag nagkakape, masarap magsigarilyo. Pag galing sa toilet, masarap magsigarilyo. Pagkatapos kumain, masarap magsigarilyo. Or habang nanonood, habang nagiinuman, they would always have reasons na ini-incorporate nila yung sigarilyo, which makes akala nila yung activity pleasurable. So they associate now that activity with smoking. So it becomes a habit. Next slide. Asa pa po, aside from the physical addiction, like I've mentioned, it also causes a psychological addiction. Because sa iba po, ito yung stress buster. Diba? I'm sure sa office may mga kaibigan tayo nag-smoke na, oy, yossi break muna. Stress na, pagod na, yossi break. So they would go out, smoke, So luckily with this COVID na nabawasan yung mga yan. But ang problema, since nasa bahay, walang magawa, kadalasan lumalakas ang pagsisigarilyo. It's a form of for some, it's a form to cope with stress, worry, agitation, and anxiousness. Next slide, please. So, health effects of tobacco smoking. Dati meron tayong alam ng first-hand smoke, second-hand smoke. Ngayon, meron na pong third-hand smoke, which we'll be discussing later on. Next slide. So first-hand smoke refers to the smoke that the smoker inhales. So ito po yung sa nagsisigarilyo mismo. Yung pinapasok niya sa usok, yun ang first-hand smoke. Next slide. While second-hand smoke would be the environmental tobacco smoke. Ito po yung binubuga nung nag-i-smoke na maaaring malanghap natin at yung idle na sigarilyo, yung hawak lang niya kahit hindi niya hinihitit, yung usok po nun would also be considered second-hand smoke. Next slide. So, second-hand smoke would be yung binuga nga po nung nagsisigarilyo. Tapos yun nga po yung side stream smoke would be yung emission na idle na sigarilyo. So, main smoke and side stream smoke would be what we call a second-hand smoke. Next slide. Now, third-hand smoke would be the residual tobacco smoke. Ito po yung kasi, as I've mentioned, there are 7,000 chemicals. So like if you're in an enclosed place, nagsigarilyo ka dun, yung mga chemicals na yun eventually would settle sa walls, sa tables, sa mga doorknobs. Like, so pag nahawakan mo yun at naipahid mo sa'yo, that would be considered third-hand smoke. It doesn't necessarily mean na yung smoke mismo, but then chemical residuals nun is considered that third-hand smoke. Next slide. So, first-hand, third-hand, second-hand smoke, I hope it's good. Ang mahirap po, kita nyo yung sa bata. Like if nagsisigarilyo ka habang nagluluto, ang knowingly, yung third-hand smoke, pinapasa mo na dun sa nilulutuan mong mga anak mo, mga kaibigan mo. So, pag nasa elevator kayo, kahit lumabas ka na, yung smoke na naiwan mo doon, kahit wala na yung usok, that could still be considered third-hand smoke. Next slide. So what is the real cause of smoking? Next slide. First, yung nga sa health natin. So it causes a lot of health issues. But as the scariest part, sa mga cigarette packs po ngayon, they show a lot of these pictures. Diba? Tinutulan po ito ng mga smoking manufacturing companies. Diba? Kasi baka daw humina ang sales. But even with these pictures dun sa mga sigarilyo, yung pack ng sigarilyo, even with the increase in sin taxes, nag-increase pa po ang sales ng tobacco worldwide. Diba? At yun nga pong malungkot, ngayong COVID, lalong tumaas pa po ang sales nila because people would have nothing to do. So, with the anxiety and depression and nervousness caused by COVID, a lot of people tend to smoke mas madami at mas maraming nagsimula na mag-smoke because of this. Next slide. So, tobacco smoke causes breast cancer. It has been implicated in throat cancer, poisons, gangrene, kasi maghihina po yung sirkulasyon sa mga dugo. So yung may mga diabetic na nagsisigarilyo pa, mas mabilis po yung mga gangrene sa sugat. It's known to cause asthma, impotence for male, causes heart attack. There are chemicals there na ginagamit na lason sa mga hayop at insekto. Causes cancer of the throat and mouth. So, next slide. Ito po yung sinasabi ko na each cigarette makes fatty deposits thick in our arteries. Lagi natin sinasabi cholesterol. But cholesterol is just one part. Stress causes inflammation in our arteries. But cigarette smoking also causes the blood to thicken and make deposits in our arteries. So, wag ho natin sisihin lang cholesterol. Diba? Kasi mas malaking part din po yung sigarilyo doon sa pagkakos ng mga high blood pressure at stroke at heart attack. Next slide. So, for the central nervous system, it's a stimulant. Sabi ko nga po, ini-stimulate yung brain. So, temporarily, nagkakaroon ng boost sa mood at energy ang nagsisigarilyo. But, fast burning din po to, like the cigarette. So it subsides quickly. So ang tendency mo ngayon, hahanapin mo na yung high na nakuha mo ng sigarilyo. So you light up another stick. That's why it's quite addicting. Because otherwise, the craving would increase at dun nahihirapan yung nag-smoke to satisfy the craving. So they become addicted to nicotine. Next slide. For the respiratory system, as I've said, it compromises the function of the lungs. The toxins get trapped in the lungs. Nung first year po kami sa medicine, Pag nagdadissect po kami ng cadaver, alam po namin pag nag-i-smoke o hindi eh. Kasi alam nyo po, pag bukas nyo ng cadaver or ng bangkay na pinag-aaralan namin noon, pagka po pinkish ang lung, kahit patay na, alam mo hindi nagsismoke. Pagka po black ang lungs or may parang budbud ng paminta, ay smoker to. So, ganun po yung nagiging epekto sa lungs natin. Diba? At sabi ko nga po, mahirap po ngayon because aside from lung cancer, emphysema, pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma, yung COVID pa. So pag tinamaan ka ng COVID, imagine, kaysa mild ka lang, nagiging severe because of smoking. Next slide. For the cardiovascular system, yung pong sinabi natin na nagkakaroon ng fatty deposit, so pagka ganun, nagkakaroon ng constriction or pagsikip yung daanan ng dugo, so nahihirapan pong umalat, umikot ang dugo, so mas compromise po ang circulation sa mga vital organs natin. So, yung puso natin would have to pump at a higher resistance, kaya tumataas ang presyon. Next slide. For the integumentary system, sa mga kababaihan lalo po, it affects the hair, skin, and nails. So nawawala yung elastin, yung collagen. So mas prone ka sa wrinkles, kumukulbot ang balat mo, mas nagmumukhang matanda tayo. Next slide. For the digestive system, it causes inflammation of the gums, leading to tooth decay, teeth loss, prolonged use is a leading cause of cancer to the mouth and throat. Next slide. This is especially true for the males kasi yung ari po ng isang lalaki ay puro blood vessels. So kung yung blood vessels sa puso mo ay naapektuhan, pati yung blood vessels doon. So it's the leading cause of impotence, infertility, at sa babae po, it's really also implicated in cervical cancer. Next slide. So those are the outcomes or consequences of smoking. Kailangan po natin alam po yun eh. Para pag nag-explain tayo para sa mga ating mga kliyente o pasyente o estudyante, reasons to quit, we could enumerate all of them. Diba? Para po, alam ko nakakamatay, but ano yung mga specific? Diba? Sa 10 Filipino a day, an hour. Diba? So, try to be more specific para mas matakot silang magsimulang magsigarilyo. Lalo na po sa mga bata. Dahil sabi nga ng ating superintendent, very gullible yan. Madaling ma-pressure ng mga kaibigan. So how do we give them ways to control smoking? Next slide, please. First, you have to give them a reason to quit. Kailangan may motivation eh. Mahirap po kasi meron ng physical addiction, meron ng psychological addiction. So you have to find their motivation to quit. Iba-iba po yan per person. So kailangan malaman mo kung ano yung maaaring mag-motivate sa kanila. Yung health ba nila? Yung health ba ng asawa niya? Yung bagong anak ba niya? O yung matitipid niyang pera, lalo na ngayong mahina ang kita, ngayong pandemya. So find the reasons and keep on repeating that to them. Na tuwing matutokso silang magsigarilyo, diba? Remember your motivation, remember your reason. Diba? Para ma-encourage ka na ituloy ang pagtigil ng pagsisigarilyo. Next slide. So, ito po yung sinabi rin natin kanina with regards to fertility, cancer, premature death, severe COVID. So, you could enumerate them. Use this as their motivation or possible motivating factor to encourage them to quit. Next slide. Then, also ask them to set a date. Diba? Kadalasan po kasi, sige, pagkatapos ng SEM na to, or basta nawala na itong pandemic, hindi po eh. Really, let them set a date. Next month, kasi kadalasan po may withdrawal ang biglang pag-ano. So, you can ask them to set a date like next month. So, if you're consuming 10 sticks a day, first week, 7 na lang, second week, 5 na lang, Third week, 3 na lang. Sa fourth week, after 1 month, tigil na. So let them set a date and always remind them that na, oh, ito na, malapit na, para po they'll have that extra motivation. Next slide. Medication can help. Diba? There would be nicotine gums and nicotine patches. But for me, in my practice, I don't really recommend this because you're still giving them that physical addiction. You're just replacing one poison with another. So I would rather go into the yung self-discipline po and really avoidance. Next slide. And smoking is hard, especially if you're going to do it alone. So encourage them to tell their friends, their family, their girlfriends, their wives, their children na I will be quitting. Para ito yung magpapaalala sa kanila. O pa, ba't ka nagsigarilyo? Sabi mo, mag-quit ka na. O yung asawa, di ba? Kulitin ka ng asawa mo dahil sabi mo, mag-quit ka na, ba't nagsisigarilyo ka na naman, di ba? And you could also use them as a motivating factor na you could call them na parang gusto ko na namang sigarilyo. Pwede ba mag-usap tayo? O labas nga tayo, mag-jogging tayo kasi nararamdaman ka na namang gusto ko magsigarilyo, di ba? Use your friends and your family to help you quit smoking. Next slide. Our government has this quit line. Ginaya po nila ito sa Amerika. Sa Amerika, very successful. Hindi ko lang po alam kung yung success rate ng ating at kung gaano kadami yung maano. But meron po tayong quit line and these are their numbers. Meron po sa at pag tawagan niyo po yan, may mga counselors po doon. Sabi ko, if you could not ask your friends and you want more of a professional help, you can try these DOH quit lines po. Next slide. And sabi ko nga po, dahil may physical addiction, kadalasan ang pinakamahirap yung cravings o yung urge to smoke again. Mararamdaman mo yan. Like, gusto mo, pagkatapos kumain, magsigarilyo. Pagkatapos kumain, ano nang gagawin mo? So, hahanapin mo na yung sigarilyo. Diba? And this urge usually becomes intense 3 to 5 minutes. Diba? 3 to 5 minutes lang. So, you could ask them, yung mga gusto mag-quit, like, a song would be about 3 to 5 minutes. So, once they get the urge, sabi mo, kantahin mo to. Memorize the song, kantahin mo lang. Or just walk 5 minutes around the campus. Whenever you get the smoke, instead of moving, doon ka lang at thinking about smoking, no. Lumabas ka, maglakad ka. After 5 minutes, wala nang urge, balik ka na sa trabaho mo. Diba? So, 3 to 5 minutes lang. Kaya natin yan, di ba? We just have to divert the focus. Next slide. Also, you have to clean house. Meaning, lahat na magpapaalala po sa inyo ng sigarilyo, alisin mo. Kung yung kotse mo, amoy sigarilyo na, ipa-car wash mo, pa-detail mo, lagyan mo ng Lysol, pabangan mo, alisin mo lahat ng ashtray, ng lighter, anything that would remind you of cigarette, alisin mo sa paligid mo. Kasi that would all add up to that would serve as a stimulus para lumabas yung cravings. So, alisin mo lahat na magpapaalala sa'yo o sa pasyente niyo. Next slide. Get moving. Diba? Like in any other disease, exercise would help. Kahit po sa cigarette smoking. Diba? It has been proven to help in mental illness, in COVID, immune system natin, pati sa sigarilyo din po. Kasi yung withdrawal symptoms na kadalasan ay associated upon quitting smoking, nawawala when you exercise. So, maganda na sa puso, maganda na sa diabetes, maganda pa sa COVID, nawala pa yung withdrawal symptoms. Next slide. That's you'll be saving money. I'm not really familiar. Para po dun sa mga nagtatabaho na gusto nung mag-quit, like your coworker, sabi mo, kunyari 5 pesos, hindi ko po alam yung but kunyari 5 pesos ang isang stick, diba? If you're consuming 10, that's 50 pesos a day. For 1 month, that's 1.5. 1.5 sa isang taon, 18,000. 18,000, tama ba? So 18,000, but kung 10 years na siya nag-smoke, 180,000 na pala yun. Diba? Nakapag-abroad na pala ako. Diba? Let them compute the possible money they'll be saving. But not only that, in terms of ano pa yung sakit na makukuha mo, so yung maintenance na gamot doon, dadagdag pa yung sa ano mo. So try to compute that because that would also serve as a motivation for them. Lalo po ngayon, mahina ang kita, may pandemya, so yung matitipid mo, pwede mo nang pambili ng pagkain ng mga anak mo. Next slide. And always remind them, it's never too late to quit. Di ba? Kasi yung sinasabi nga po, ang tanda ko na wala pa naman nangyayari. Yung lolo ko, namatay ng 90, nagsisigarilyo. So, wag na lang din. So, hindi po, it's never too late to quit. Because, the moment you quit just after 20 minutes, your heart rate drops. Within 12 hours, your blood carbon monoxide, ito po yung parang sa buga na usok ng tambucho, would fall back to normal. Just within 12 hours. Diba? In 2 to 3 months, your heart attack risk would go down. Diba? Your cancer risk go down. So, ang dami pong benepisyo. Huwag po nating isipin. Huwag pong maniwala sila dun sa nung namatay, anong tinigil namatay. That is not true. Next slide. And always remind them, if you fail, repeat, di ba? Subok lang ng subok. Tapos, try to analyze, ba't ka ba nag-fail? Kasi tumigil na ako, kaya lang nagkaroon ng inuman. So, I started smoking again. So ngayon, sabihin mo, huwag kang sumama sa inuman. Or pag mag-inuman, sabihin mo dun sa isang restaurant na no smoking. Diba? Para you learn from the mistakes that you've made and try again. Next slide. So these are the benefits. Just after 20 minutes, your heart rate drops, as I've said. After 2 weeks, your blood pressure and your lung function is improved. After 1 year, the risk for heart disease decreases. After 10 years, the risk from dying from lung cancer decreases. So, ang dami-dami pong benepisyo na makukuha natin by just stopping and just by preventing, especially po sa school, preventing the people from smoking. Next slide. Next slide, lung function. Sige po, diretso lang po. There will be improved lung function, heart, cardiovascular function, reproductive function. Next slide po, ma'am. Next slide for the heart. Healthy looking skin, especially for the females. Next slide. Decrease cancer risk. 25% of cancer, improve fertility for male and female. Next slide. Ayun nga, ito yung sabi ko, it will make you save money. Next slide. Also, you'll be helping Earth, our Mother Earth. Diba? Kasi lagi lang natin naiisip yung buga ng factory. Pero isang factory lang yan. Isipin mo gaano daang milyon na nagsisigarilyo, yung usok na pinoproduce nun, ilang daang factory ang katumbas nun, di ba? So you'll be also saving the environment. Next slide. So let's really try to motivate people, di ba? Lalo ngayon may mga batas na ata. I don't know with Attorney Soraya, she'll be discussing that. But yung freedom from smoking addiction, di ba? Because of the health benefits, the financial benefits, di ba? Tapos yung benepisyo, hindi lang po dun sa smoker, kundi dun sa people around them, di ba? So give them that freedom from smoking addiction. Help them achieve that freedom. Next slide. So just stop smoking, di ba? Marami pong maaring dahilan. Pero mas marami pong dahilan kung bakit dapat tayong tumigil. Next slide. the choice is always yours, di ba? Let them make that choice, di ba? Before it's too late. Next slide. Put it out before it puts you out. Next slide. Ano po to? It's like a slow suicide. So, why would you try to kill yourself? Next slide. So quit before it kills you. Quit before you hurt people you love. Next slide. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's Dr. Francis G. Nora. Thank you so much, Doc, for that very informative talk about harmful effects of smoking and ways to avoid smoking. So, guys, it's never too late to stop smoking because quitting will lengthen your life and improve the quality of your life. So, can I have a virtual applause for Dr. Francis Nora? Can I have a thumbs up for Dr. Francis Nora? Thumbs up emoji for Dr. Nora. So thank you, Doc. And now for our second speaker.
Kim, I would like to present the certificate for Doc Francis. Certificate of.
Okay.
Can I share?
Yes.
Okay. Kanina sana to, hindi ko na kita yung gwapong picture ni Doc. Wait.
Kasama ko ata si Mayor dyan, nasa Taiwan.
Oo, para. So, I would like to present this certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to Dr. Ernest Francis G. Nora for imparting his valuable insights and knowledge as resource speaker during the webinar on tobacco control and anti-smoking advocacy for school nurses and school tuberculosis. Anti-smoking. Siya. Kuan ko lang to. Hindi siya na-edit. Given this, this day. Doc, sorry Doc, i-edit ko lang to. Ipadala ko na lang yung hard copy dyan sa Manila once okay na po.
Yes, ma'am. Pag nadalaw ka dito.
Opo, Doc. And then yung question and answer po, Doc, after na sa lecture ni attorney. Okay lang po, Doc, if you can stay not so much longer. Okay. Okay, thank you, Duki. Okay, and for our second speaker for this day, it's no other than this very strong woman, attorney Soraya Tabaw. She is presently a professor in MSU College of Law and presently the head legal officer of PhilHealth BARM. She graduated in elementary at DC with honors and graduated in high school at Science Training Center in issue with first honorable mention. Graduated in MSU Mindanao State University main campus College of Business Administration with course of BS Accountancy as cum laude, and graduated in College of Law same also in Mindanao State University College of Law main as cum laude also. and presently taking up Masters of Law. Taking up Masters of Law in College of San Beda. May I now present Attorney Soraya Sari. Kim. Wait.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Attorney.
Good morning, Assalamualaikum. Bali po, I have given to Miss Patre my recorded slide because medyo mahina po yung signal natin. So I think Patre would be sharing the slide. Thank you.
Kim, ma-share ni mo? Share na po.
Kasi pag 30 minutes.
I think naka-mute po kayo, attorney.
That is pre-recorded po. Parang kailangan yung i-share yung sound po. Patre.
View po ba, Attorney?
Ano po?
Na-view ba? Nakikita ba sa screen?
Opo.
Okay,
Hindi lang
so
po
mag-start.
marinig.
Okay, mag-start na po ako.
Wala pong audio. Yung ano.
Ito na.
Pre-recorded doon.
Pre-recorded na?
Yes, sir.
Wala pong audio.
Kim, view siya, Kim. Hello, Kim.
Walay audio, ma'am.
Wala mo na, naka-play.
Pa-check na lang ko sa email ni mo, Kim.
Lanao del Norte Schools Division Superintendent Edalberto Oplinaria, the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent Rosemary Tima Quezon, the Chief of the School Governance and Operations Division, Maria Carmela Ablen, to Dr. Francis Nora, to our school nurses, health advocates, and focal persons who are present today. Allow me to greet you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Now, in November 2020, the Department of Health released a statement together with the Philippines Pediatric Society that a smoke-free Philippines lessens COVID-19 risk because tobacco use weaken lungs and immune system. Smokers are more vulnerable to COVID-19. But aside from the health issues related or associated with smoking, Dr. Rizalena Raquel Gonzalez of the PPS Tobacco Control Advocacy Group said that tobacco use is often a social activity. Meaning, di ba, pag nakikita ninyo, the smokers, when they smoke, would flock together. So, according to Dr. Gonzalez, tobacco use opens an opportunity for crowding, which is also counterintuitive to another anti-COVID-19 preventive measure, which is physical distancing. So having said that, I would like to first and foremost commend the Division of Lanao del Norte for coming up with this webinar on tobacco control and anti-smoking advocacy, because at this the pandemic, at these times of health crisis, this advocacy more than ever is very relevant, timely, and important. So in the next slides, I would discuss the various laws and legal bases of our tobacco control policies in DepEd. Okay? Now, like what I said earlier, the DOH stated that a smoke-free Philippines would help lessen the risk to COVID. The DOH issued Department Memo number 2020-0246 on tobacco control in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I only chose from among the general guidelines, 2 guidelines that I think is important in relation to our topic today. And we have the cessation of all forms of tobacco and electronic cigarettes. So, pagpapatigil sa paggamit ng sigarilyo and e-cigarette through promotion of healthy lifestyle and continued provision of cessation programs. Okay, and then we have also this important provision: tobacco and vapor products shall not be classed as essential goods. Okay, throughout the pandemic. Now, included in the special guidelines kung saan papasok ang DepEd is this statement. All local government units, other national government agencies, health facilities, academia, schools, universities, and other persons in charge of institutions, establishments, and facilities are encouraged to impose stricter policies on tobacco control to protect their constituents, the students, employees during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why I said earlier that more than ever, tobacco control is very important. Now we proceed to the constitutional provisions and legal basis, the constitutional basis of our tobacco control. Now we have Article 2, Section 15 of the 1987 Constitution, which provides that the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. So we also have Article 15, Section 3.2 of the 1987 Constitution, which provides that the state shall defend the right of the children to assistance, including proper care and nutrition, protection from all forms of neglect, abuse, cruelty, exploitation, and other conditions prejudicial to their development. So ayon po sa ating saligang batas, pinoprotektahan at pinapangalagaan ng ating bansa ang karapatan ng bawat mamamayan or bawat Pilipino sa tamang kalusugan. So, in relation to this, well, we see people still smoke, diba? So, it remains that may karapatan naman yung tao na gawin ang gusto niya. So, yung mag-smoke. But then, ang nire-regulate ng ating batas, ng ating gobyerno is that basic lang that our right ends when the right of others begins. So, when the smoking already infringes upon or violate the right of other people, for example, to health or to a smoke-free environment, then the right ends. So, pwede na tayong i-regulate ng government doon. Kaya nga may mga batas tayo that prohibits smoking in public places. So, yun po yung ating titingnan in the next slides. Now, we have Republic Act number 8749 or the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999. So, marami pong rights ang naka-enumerate po sa Republic Act na ito. But pinili ko lang po yung pinaka-importante in relation to our topic today. And this is, it is the policy of the state to guarantee the enjoyment of the right of every citizen to breathe clean air. And pursuant to this policy, this Republic Act, among others, prohibits smoking inside enclosed public places, including public vehicles and other means of transport and other enclosed areas, and directs local government units to implement the prohibition. Okay. So, now we have the smoking ban in public places. So, ang pinaka-importante doon ay ang in relation to DepEd, which yan po ang aking gustong i-highlight in this slide. So, i-highlight po natin ito, the centers of youth activity such as play schools, preparatory schools, elementary schools, high schools, colleges, and universities, youth hostels, and recreational facilities for persons under 18 years old, pinagbabawal dyan po ang paninigarilyo. Smoking shall be absolutely prohibited in these areas or public places. So we also have under Republic Act number 9211 pa rin, the Section 10, wherein the sale or distribution of tobacco products is prohibited within 100 meters from any point of the perimeter of a school, public playground, or other facility frequented particularly by minors. So later on, makikita ninyo that ito yung pinaka-basis ng ating mga orders sa DepEd at mga batas on the prohibition of sale within the 100-meter perimeter. Okay? Now, yung Section 5 kanina ay penalized by law. So, ito po yung ating mga fines on the first offense, second and third offense. Okay? So, hindi ko na po i-elaborate yan. So, for easy reference, ito po siya yung penalties. Also, Section 10, the violation thereof is also penalized. Okay? So, ito po yung ating penalty for the violation of these sections. Okay? Now, we proceed to the Civil Service Memorandum Circular number 17, series of 2009. And this applies to us being in the government service. So this circular requires a 100% smoke-free environment in all government premises except for open spaces designated as smoking areas. So pwede kayong magtanong ngayon, pwede ba tayong mag-designate ng smoking area sa ating mga premises sa DepEd, sa ating mga eskwelahan? So this one I will answer in another slide. under another applicable law. And also this CSC circular also ensures the placement of no smoking signage in these government premises. And it also requires head of agencies to establish reporting and monitoring procedures and establishes violations of the circular as a ground for administrative disciplinary action. So kung po kayo ay nagninigarilyo sa loob ng ating premises, pwede po kayong maging liable for an administrative offense under this circular. Okay? All right. We have now Civil Service Commission and DOH Joint Memorandum Circular number 2010-01 on the protection of the bureaucracy against tobacco industry interference. So pinagbabawal po sa mga government officials to have unnecessary interaction with the tobacco industry. This one ay makikita natin itong prohibition against tobacco industry interference in the DepEd department order, which I will discuss later. Now we also have Republic Act 10643, the Graphic Health Warnings Law, which directs the DepEd, kayo yon, to use graphic health warnings templates to educate children, among others, on the ill effects of tobacco and to ensure that these are included in relevant subjects under the K-12 or basic education curriculum. So, nire-require po kayo to educate our children. Okay, so this is just a reminder that the Republic of the Philippines is a party to the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, FCTC. So the Republic of the Philippines is determined under this treaty to give priority to the right to protect public health and promote measures of tobacco control based on current and relevant scientific, technical, and economic considerations agreed to implement the measures provided in this treaty on tobacco control. Okay? Now, finally, nandito tayo sa DepEd Order number 48 series of 2016, the Policy and Guidelines on Comprehensive Tobacco Control. So ito na po yung ating omnibus guidelines on tobacco control sa DepEd. Okay? So now, yung policy na to, this policy has 4 objectives. So number 1 objective is to educate and to inform all learners, teaching and non-teaching personnel, and staff on the hazards of tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke. So kaya po tayo, nagkakaroon ng webinar as part of our education campaign. The second objective is to make effective cessation intervention services available and accessible to all learners, teachers, and non-teaching personnel in need of such services. So tinutulungan po natin ang ating mga constituents na tumigil sa kanilang paninigarilyo, kung sila man ay naninigarilyo. And then we also have the third objective, which is to facilitate enforcement of tobacco control policies in schools and offices, such as absolute smoking bans, access restrictions, and others. We will discuss this one by one later. And then the last objective is to ensure strict implementation of policies on the protection against tobacco industry interference in the department. So nabanggit natin kanina yung tobacco industry interference, yung pagbabawal nito sa government. Okay? Now, what are the strategies that are being adopted by DepEd to achieve those enumerated objectives earlier? So we have the first information, education, and communication. So this is the education campaign on comprehensive tobacco control. So gaya ng ginagawa natin ngayon. And then we have secession interventions. We also have collaborations, partnerships, and linkages. So nakikipag-collaborate tayo with LGUs, with non-government organizations, and possible with the DSWD and other partners in relation to our comprehensive tobacco control. And then we also have this capacity building of school officials, personnel, and students. And then lastly, we have the reporting and monitoring through the Child Protection Committee. So, meron po tayong tinatawag na Child Protection Committee under DepEd Order number 40 series of 2012. So, marami po yung kanilang mandate. Pero pinasok po sa kanilang mandate ang pag-monitor ng compliance with and report violations of tobacco control policies. It shall be the focal group that will prepare compliance or violation reports and collaborate with LGUs and partners to ensure that action is taken on violations. Okay? So what are our tobacco control policies in the DepEd? So isa-isahin po natin yan. So we have now absolute smoking ban in the premises of schools, including canteens, outdoor spaces, toilets, and vehicles parked on school premises. So maliwanag po na bawal po ang paninigarilyo. Absolutely in the DepEd and school premises. So hindi po tayo pwedeng ding mag-designate ng smoking areas in our facilities, in our premises. And then we have access restrictions o yung tinatawag natin kanina na ban on the sale of cigarettes. Hindi po pwedeng magtinda ng cigarettes and other tobacco products in and within 100 perimeter of the premises of all public and private elementary and secondary schools. We also have outdoor advertising ban. So, hindi lang po yung panininda or pagtitinda ng sigarilyo ang pinagbabawal. Bukod dito, pinagbabawal din natin ang pag-advertise in the 100-meter perimeter of public and private elementary and secondary schools. So, meaning, bawal pong i-advertise ang mga tobacco products within the 100-meter perimeter of public and private elementary and secondary schools. So next, we have sponsorship bans. Ano po tong sponsorship bans? The ban on tobacco sponsorships of the arts, culture, sports, and concerts in all private and public elementary and secondary schools. So meaning, bawal po nating ipa-sponsor ang ating mga activities sa ating mga eskwelahan. Bawal pong ipa-sponsor sa mga tobacco industries. So, bawal din po na tumanggap ang ating mga public officials ng mga anumang klaseng kontribusyon galing sa ating mga tobacco industry. Ban on promotional items for minors or the prohibition against items marketed to or likely used by children that bear a name, logo, indicia, or element of a brand or marketing activity for tobacco products. So, di ba minsan nakaka-receive tayo marketing items dinadala sa mga eskwelahan. So, bawal po kapag itong marketing items na ito ay nagbe-bear, may logo ng or may name, logo, indicia, or any element ng isang tobacco product, ng isang cigarette product. Bawal po yun. Okay? And then sampling restrictions or the prohibition on the distribution of samples of tobacco products to persons below 18 years old. So, hindi po pwede natin hayaan na mag-distribute ng samples ng cigarettes, for example, sa ating mga kabataan sa loob ng ating mga eskwelahan or paaralan. And then we also have the protection against tobacco industry interference measures. Ito yung sinabi natin kanina. So how do we ensure that we have protection against tobacco industry interference? So it is required that we report interactions with the tobacco industry, we disclose interest in the tobacco industry, and we refuse or reject any offers or contributions from the tobacco industry. Because ayaw po natin na tayo ay ma-influensyahan ng mga tobacco industry na ito. So dapat nating nire-report ang mga interactions natin with them. Okay? Now, the department order, the DepEd order number 48 series of 2016 pa rin, it enumerates the prohibitions. These prohibitions can also be found in the various civil service memoranda circular. So, the following acts are prohibited and shall be penalized in administrative proceedings for a grave or simple misconduct, depending on the gravity of the act and its consequences under existing laws, rules, and regulations. So meron pong medyong konting typo error here. But anyway, when you commit these prohibited acts, you may be held liable for an administrative offense for a grave or simple misconduct. So, importante pong malaman natin kung ano po yung mga prohibited acts na yun. Okay, so gaya ng sinabi, smoking in and on the premises, buildings, and grounds of the DepEd, bawal, including all schools. Number 2, establishing or allowing smoking areas within 10 meters from our entrances and exits of our premises, bawal po. Selling tobacco products in the premises, including buildings and grounds of public elementary and secondary schools and DepEd offices. Number 4, unjustified refusal by persons concerned to report tobacco control policy violations. Okay? And then we have number 5, having unnecessary interaction with the tobacco industry. Number 6, failure to conduct a necessary transaction with the tobacco industry in a public and transparent manner. And then number 7, unjustified refusal by persons concerned to correct any perception of partnership with the tobacco industry. And then number 8, extending preferential treatment to the tobacco industry. And then number 9, accepting gifts, donations, sponsorships directly and indirectly from the tobacco industries. And then number 10, failure to disclose any financial interest in the tobacco industry. So otherwise stated, kailangan po natin dinedisclose kung meron tayong mga investment or financial interest in the tobacco industries. And then number 11, accepting any favors that are analogous to those already mentioned earlier. And then we have number 12, failure to disclose engagement in any occupational activity within the tobacco industry. So in the past yan, or any intention to engage in the same to past and current supervisors or superiors, and any other analogous or similar acts. Okay? So we're done with the DepEd order. We proceed to Executive Order number 26, which is signed by our President Duterte last May 16, 2017. This is just actually a reiteration of the previous laws that we already discussed. This EO provides for the establishment of smoke-free environments in public and enclosed places. So, marami pong prohibited acts. Then, we just highlight kung ano po yung applicable sa atin, and this is letter B. It is prohibited for persons in charge to allow, abet, or tolerate smoking in places enumerated in the preceding paragraph. So bakit po tayo pasok dyan? Yung persons in charge po natin would refer to our heads in the division, in the school, yung mga ating kinauukulan doon. They should not allow smoking in public places, conveyances, whether stationary or in motion, which are outside of designated smoking areas. Sa ibang sa ibang opisina pwede tayong mag-designate ng smoking area. But in the DepEd premises kasi, in our mga eskwelahan, as already stated a while ago, there is an absolute smoking ban. So wala po tayong exception to the rule. Okay? Now, also, it is prohibited, again, this is just a reiteration, to sell or distribute tobacco products in schools, public playgrounds, etc., those areas frequented by minors or within 100 meters from any point of the perimeter of these places. Okay? All right. Another one is the placing or posting, displaying, or distributing of advertisement and promotional materials or of tobacco products within the 100-meter perimeter that we said a while ago. So, okay? Na-discuss din natin yan in the DepEd order. Now, yung EO na to, nag-require na yung pag-designate ng smoking areas. But then, there are certain places where absolutely ban in smoking, so there shall be no designated smoking areas. And pasok po tayo dyan. The centers of youth activity such as play schools, preparatory schools, elementary schools, high schools, colleges, universities, youth hostels, and recreational facilities for minors. Pasok po sa ating public places na hindi po pwedeng mag-designate ng smoking area. Okay? Now, okay. Yung EO na to, ni-require din po ang mga persons in charge. So, including our heads of the division, heads of school units, to prominently post and display the no smoking signage in the locations most visible to the public. So, preferably, nasa entrance ng ating mga eskwelahan, ng ating mga opisina, ng ating premises. Dapat visible yung no smoking. So, it is required that it shall be at least 8 by 11 inches in size, where the symbol shall occupy no less than 60% of the signage, while the remaining 40% shall show the pertinent information. So you can refer to this AO for the sample kung ano yung itsura ng ating no smoking signage. Now we have also, baka nakakaligtaan natin that EO number 26 series of 2017 requires persons in charge of schools, public playgrounds, etc. to post the following statement para kita agad in a clear and conspicuous manner. So, dapat nakapaskil po sa ating perhaps sa gate natin ng mga ating eskwelahan ang karatulang na nakalagay ito, selling, advertising, and promoting other cigarettes or tobacco products not allowed within 100 meters from any point in the perimeter of, and then you state the name of the school. Okay? Now, it is also required sa ating mga persons in charge to report to the nearest smoke-free task force of the concerned city or municipality any tobacco product selling, advertising, and or promotion located within 100 meters from its perimeter. So, yun po yun, ha? Kailangan natin magpaskil, maglagay ng karatula for this reminder. And then, kailangan po natin i-report
sa smoke-free task force ng ating mga local government units kung meron tayong nakikitang violation ng ating EO na to, particularly on the violation on the selling, advertising, and promotion located within 100 meters from the perimeters of our school premises. Okay? Now that ends this presentation. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for inviting me to share on the laws applicable in relation to tobacco control in the Department of Education. Thank you. Maraming salamat po. And that's Attorney Soraya Sharitabao. Thank you so much, Attorney, for that very interesting topic about the legal basis of a 100% smoke-free environment. And now to present the token of appreciation, may I call on Ma'am Patri.
Ma-view na ba, Kim?
Ay nagsisimula sa ating mga
Kim, ma-view ang kuan.
Yes, Ma'am Patri.
Okay, presenting this certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to Attorney Soraya Sharif Tabao, CPA, for imparting her valuable insights and knowledge as resource speaker during the webinar on tobacco control and anti-smoking advocacy for school nurses and school anti-smoking focal persons of Department of Education, Division of Lanao del Norte on September 10, 2021, given this 10th day of September 2021 to be signed by Sir Edelberto L. Oprinaria, CISO 5 School Division Superintendent. Thank you so much, Attorney.
Thank you din po. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Attorney. Can I have a virtual thumbs up for Attorney Soraya for that wonderful topic about the 100% smoke-free policy? Thumbs up, please. And thank you. And now the floor is open for questions, clarifications, to be answered by our two guest speakers.
You may turn on your microphone for your questions. I encourage nurses to collect their question from the field and raise in this webinar. Thank you. Ma'am Maylene, question si Ma'am Maylene. To Doc Francis. Doc, may question sila if ever na may nabibili ba daw na over-the-counter na gamot para makastop ng smoking?
Yung sinabi ko po kanina, yung mga nicotine patch, hindi po siya readily available dito. But yun nga po, I'm not really an advocate of that. Kasi it's like replacing a poison with another poison. So, yan po kasi yung gamot po, marami pong nag-advertise na anti-smoking po. No? But yung tulad po ng nasabi natin kanina, smoking is not just nicotine. Diba? It causes a physical imbalance in your brain, but it also has a psychological factor. So to be able to really stop smoking, it has to be both physical and psychological. hindi ho pwedeng, inom na lang akong gamot. Kasi usually it's the easy way out po di ba? Meron akong gamot. Parang sa diabetes po. May gamot naman so pwede akong kumain. But wala pong shortcut dito You really have to undergo the process to be really successful.
Si Sir Dreden po. Sir Dreden, you have question? Sir Cle?
Good morning, Ma'am Pat.
Morning. Yes.
This is for Doc Ernest Francis Nora.
Yes,
Morning, Doc. Doc,
Good morning,
my question is what I have gained from your talk po is that behavior modification is really a huge part of prevention or coping away from smoking. So, as part of the process, Doc, would you be recommending candies perhaps or anything that would be part of the process for the replacement of cigarette perhaps? Like, ano pong mas healthier na replacement sa smoking as part of the process?
Pwede po yan yung kung babalikan po natin yung lecture, di ba sabi ko merong mga intense moments, yung cravings o urges na talagang sigarilyo ka na. O kumbaga yung term nila is using na ako. But yun nga po, it only lasts for 3 to 5 minutes. So yung kadalas po yung iba chewing gum or yung candy nga po. But yun just advise them to make sure that they brush their teeth kasi ang isang effect po ng smoking numinipis na yung inyong ngipin. So if we're gonna replace it with candy, baka lalo ding masira ang ngipin nyo. So anything po that could distract them for just 3 to 5 minutes. If it's candy or eating or better yung mga exercises, pwede po. At sabi nga din ni Atty. Soraya, it's a social event. Dahil sa COVID. Sabi ko nga po, diba sa mga office mayroong yosi break. Diba? Na magkukumpulan siya, halika break muna tayo. So anything po na pwedeng makadistract. Yung pag di wag na mag-yosi break. Buti nga po may COVID, may social distancing. Bawal yan, sabihan nyo na. Diba? But going back to your question po, anything that would distract them for 3 to 5 minutes. Whether it's cake, candy, as long as it's going to help them remove their mind off smoking, pwede po.
Well taken po. Thank you very much, Doc Nora. Any other questions from the group? Sir Amante?
Yes, ma'am. Okay lang po. Just on the by.
How about Sir Hope? Ma'am Learning. Any questions? Yes, please. Yes, Sir Hope?
Sir Jazz, lag ka. Pwede hindi mo i-chat para basahon na mo, Sir Jazz.
Okay. I would like to address this question to Dr. Francis. Yes, Dr. Ernest Francis. Doc, good morning. Now, my first question is it really true that smoking can deter or lower the immune system of certain? And what is the percentage of smokers that can be contacted or infected with the present pandemic? Yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
I'm sorry, sir. I wasn't medyo po. Is it really true if smoking can
smoking lower the immune system? And then what is the percentage of smokers to be infected with COVID?
That's a very good question, sir. As of yesterday, as I was looking at the literatures, there's still no definite study po. But they're saying po na because of the effect of smoking on the lungs, how does it lower the immune system po? First, it causes yun nga po fatty deposits on your blood vessels. So nagko-constrict po siya. So less oxygenation. If your organs are less oxygenated, they would not be functioning maximally. So yun po ang isang mga potential na magpapalower ng inyong immune system. And because of the pagka po nagsisigarilyo tayo, yung ating pong lungs, sir, ay para pong goma yan, elastic. So, pag inhale po natin, we exert effort. Para pong goma, pag hinatak mo, may effort ka, pero pag pinakawalan mo, babalik yan ng kusa. So, ang lungs natin, ganun po. So, when we inhale, we exert effort, but when we exhale, wala. Kasi yung lungs na mismo nagsasara. But smoking causes the lungs to lose its elasticity. So, pag ganun, nahihirapan. Kaya, it'll make you prone to bronchitis, emphysema, or COPD. And because of this, it has not been known. Kasi wala pong ginawang study with regard to smoking. But it is a fact that COPD patients will make you prone to develop severe COVID. So if you have COPD and smoking causes you to have COPD, it is safe to assume that smoking can make you prone to develop severe COVID, sir. With regards to percentage, mahirap po yan, sir. Kasi medyo dapat mabusisi yung research na gagawin mo.
Oo nga po. Kasi I always heard na sa TV, sa mga media sinasabi that smoking, mas prone daw yung mga smokers na magka-COVID kaysa hindi mga smokers. So that's the reason why tinanong ko for clarification lang po daw. Although I am not smoking, pero mas mabuti na yung klaro kasi pag may magtatanong sa atin, alam din natin yung isasagot natin.
Yes, sir. Sabi ko po,
yun lang po. Salamat.
Wala po talagang study pa na ginawa nag-associate with smoking and COVID because they're all after the cure. So with regards to smoking or sa mga risk factors. But smoking makes you prone to develop or lose the elasticity of the lungs, making you prone to COPD. At yung may COPD po is known to develop severe COVID. So if smoking would cause this disease and those with disease is prone to develop severe COVID, so it will be safe to assume, sir. But with regards to studies, wala pa po talaga.
Sige. Thank you very much. Okay na po.
Ma'am Merly Sulay, you have a question. Ma'am Merly.
Question from Ma'am Merly Sulay for Dr. Nora. Is vape an option for smokers to quit smoking? What are the effects of using vape?
That is what they were promoting at first. As an alternative to smoking, yung vaping po. But the studies coming out now is showing that it is more carcinogenic. So it is not a healthy option. Ang mahirap po sa vape, it comes in beautiful designs and shapes and flavors. So it is more, kumbaga, kung yung curiosity, lalo na sa mga bata, is a major factor for them trying smoking. Then vaping causes more curiosity. Kasi dati amoy mo yung sigarilyo pagka nagsisigarilyo yung anak mo, o ba't amoy sigarilyo ka. Ngayon, vaping doesn't cause that So mas, kumbaga, mas safe na subukan nila. Hindi sila maamoy ng magulang nila, hindi sila maamoy ng teachers. So mas mahirap po. But it has been, research now would show that it's more carcinogenic. Kasi pure chemicals po yan wala na po yung tabako. So pure chemicals lang po yan. Kaya lang may iba't ibang flavor. Meron kasi laki ng yung USB. So they could just insert it anywhere in their bags na hindi mo makikita. So mas nakakatakot po. Kasi yan po ang preferred ng mga kabataan ngayon. but it's not a healthy
Thanks.
alternative.
Thank you so much, Doc. Question from Sir Drivin for Attorney Soraya. Attorney, is vape is there any legal basis for covered ba yung vape sa anti-smoking campaign or law? Or is vape in public places or attorney?
Covered po siya doon sa EO 27 po na pinirmahan po ni President Digong kasi ang absolute smoking doon is covering tobacco use and also electronic cigarettes. And I think yung electronic cigarettes covered niya po yung vaping. Thank you po. So bawal po siya sa public places pa rin.
Okay. Thank you po, Attorney. Meron pa po bang questions, clarifications about the topic?
I have a question for attorney.
Okay, Sir Amante, go ahead.
Good morning po, attorney.
Good morning po.
Kasi there was one time that I was parked outside the gate of the school and I noticed that there is a store there. The students are hanging out, and unfortunately, I saw them smoking. So in this case, who would be the proper authority in which we could try to tap natin para ma-inform po sila regarding that violation po? Kasi earlier, I have read, according to your lecture, that there is a certain violation and a certain fine for that violation po. So who would be the proper, the question is who would be the proper authorities in which we're going to report that so that po sila ma-inform po yung store owner that there was a violation being committed po.
Parang based on my lecture, report it firstly to the local government unit because yung mga laws natin is really directed to our local government units po. They are our partners po in this anti-smoking policy po. So dapat po, I forgot the committee po. May committee po yan sa mga local government units supposedly where we report po the violation of these laws po on the prohibition on the selling of laws po. Nabanggit ko po yun kanina po. Pero sa local government unit po yun.
So meaning if we say local LGU po, ano po yan sa munisipyo po?
Opo, ayun po, nandun po siya sa EO number 26 years of 2017. You report it to the smoke-free task force ng ating concerned city or municipality po. Kung municipality tayo sa munisipyo po. Supposedly po, nakakreate na sila ng smoke-free task force kasi sila po dapat yung nagmo-monitor ng mga compliance dito sa executive order na to.
Okay po. So it means that they are really bound to create its municipality po. They really have to have their own anti-smoking task force.
Yes po. Supposedly po, actually naman po ang sa atin naman po marami tayong mga batas pero yung pag-enforce lang po naman yung batas natin ang usually na problema natin. Whether they are really being followed at our local units, yun po yung talagang issues natin. But yes, supposedly meron po silang created na smoke-free task force.
Okay po. So in that case, before we report, is it necessary na may documentation tayo para to support the evidence of our allegations? Tama po ba 'yon? Kailangan ba picturean natin? Wala ba tayong bina-violate na niyan?
Hindi naman po siguro kasi in the first place sila po yung may violation yung tindahan na yun. So no problem po kung i-report natin with documentation kasi nagre-report po tayo ng isang violation.
Okay po. Sige po, clear po. Thank you po.
Salamat po.
Another question for Attorney Soraya from Dr. Melvin Inario. Good morning, Attorney. May nakulong na po ba dahil sa paglabag ng smoking policy ng government natin? Curious lang po ako.
Actually po hindi rin po ako yung enforcement officer ng smoking policy. But I don't think may nakulong na po. Sabi ko na nga po kanina, more likely po doon tayo po sa enforcement ng policies natin. Medyo mahina. That's an accepted fact. And yung nakita ko po kanina na penalties then more on fines lang din po yung nakita ko pa so far.
Thank you so much, Attorney.
For emphasize ko lang po, for us po na kasi, cover din po kasi tayo, hindi lang yung mga bisita natin sa ating mga DepEd premises. Cover din po tayo ng mga empleyado. So, sa case natin po, pwede po tayong ma-admin case for either grave or simple misconduct. So, depende po sa gravity ng ating violation. And ang mga penalties po nun would range from suspension to dismissal from office po.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney. Anyone? Any questions? Wala na po ba? Okay, thank you so much for our two guest speakers for today's webinar. Salamat po sa lahat ng mga insights na inibinahagi niyo po sa amin na magiging instrumento namin to intensify our IEC in the field, in our learners, to promote and improve the health status of the academic community. Salamat po, Attorney Sir and Dr. Francis. Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Attorney.
Salamat din po.
Virtual applause for our guest speakers today.
Maraming salamat po. Hello po, Doc Francis. See you soon.
Attorney, nice to see you again.
And now to formally close our program, may I call on our officer in charge of school health section, Dr. Melvin Inario.
Thank you very much, Kim. And in behalf of our schools division superintendent, Sir Edelberto L. Oplenaria, CISO 5, and our assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Tolud Masisar, and also our SGOD chief, Ma'am Maria Carmela T. Ablin. We would like to thank our expert and very knowledgeable speakers sa ato ang webinar karon on tobacco control in the person of Dr. Ernest Francis G. Nora. Doc, salamat po Doc sa mga napaka-importante po na mga informations na sinishare niyo po sa DepEd family. And also the very learned and knowledgeable attorney, Soraya M. Sharif Tabaw. Attorney, maraming salamat po sa time niyo po. Alam ko na itong mga dalawang resort speakers po natin ay napaka-busy po ng mga taong ito. Ngunit nagpapasalamat po kami sa DepEd dahil binigyan niyo po kami ng time na pa-share niyo po yung knowledge niyo about the harmful effects of smoking to human health and also the ways to avoid smoking. And for attorney, salamat po attorney, marami pong mga informations about policies, government, executive orders, DepEd order po na sinishare niyo po na ito po ay magagamit namin sa pag-disseminate po ng mga information sa aming mga teachers, sa aming mga paaralan para po na makatulong naman po ang DepEd sa pag-control po ng smoking at nang maiwasan po ng ating mga kabataan ang harmful effects po ng smoking. Napaka-importante po ang topic na ito. Thank you very much for our anti-smoking focal person, Ma'am Patri Raifa Dumatono, for your leadership sa pag-organize po ng webinar na ito. Kasi in times of pandemic po, napaka-importante po na yung kalusugan po. Lalo na yung lungs ay magiging malusog kasi ito po yung isa sa pinaka-target po ng virus na virus po na itong COVID. So maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga participants na nag-participate po ngayong umaga. Sa lahat ng mga schools, focal persons, yung mga nurses po natin sa districts, yung mga nagtanong. Alam ko na yung maraming natutunan natin ngayon ay magagamit natin ito sa pag-disseminate ng mahalagang information about anti-smoking. So, we hope po na yung mga natutunan natin ay hindi po dito lang matatapos, hindi ma-share po natin sa ating family, sa ating community, at lalong-lalo na po sa mga Department of Education papilis po. So, thank you very much sa pag-participate po ng webinar, and good morning to all of us. Keep safe po.
And that ends our virtual activity on tobacco control and prevention program. Thank you so much to all the people behind the successful webinar, to our schools division superintendent, Dr. Adalberto L. Opinaria, to our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Rosemary Masisar, to our schools governance operations division chief education supervisor, Ma'am Maria Carmela Tumpong Ablin, and to our Tobacco Control Prevention Program Coordinator, Ms. Patricia Raifa Dumato. And to all the participants in today's webinar, thank you so much for participating, and thank you for your attention and cooperation. Salamat and good morning.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Sir, thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ikatay yung siya, di ba, Bilo? Ilo, ano, uy.
Kana nindot kayo official ni Ate Janet.
Picture.
Kasi nakatawag lang. Dinit na po. Dinit na po yung nanalo.
Duha sila ni Juan, Ate Raisa.
Wow.
Ate Janet, magdala mo og Juan. Pagdala mo og picture sa GC.
Yes. Send lang. Sige. Okay.
Thank you sa tanan. Nunta nakatuon mo na may natun-an. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
Maniud to na ta.
Thanks.
Bye.
Ang kangkuan, Kim, unsa na po dang sa unsay ato sa mental health, unsay oras?